Happy new March, everybody. Happy new spring. 'Tis the season. I don't know how this happened, to be honest with you. I still don't feel it, but hey, let's go. At the beginning of each season, I personally like to write down some books that I would like to consume throughout the season, and also to look through my stuff and make some kind of recommendations. So, what's this video going to be? Simple. It's going to be stuff that I want to read this spring. Of course, probably some stuff is going to get added and switched out, realistically speaking, but I want to share it with you. And then stuff that I already read and I would recommend to read in spring. I might not have read it in spring at that time, but nonetheless, I feel like they're good spring recommendations. And then just some good old-fashioned movie recommendations that I've probably already watched, but knowing me, I'm a huge rewatcher, so I'll rewatch them. So if you're into that kind of stuff, stick around, enjoy, and thank you in advance for watching me for however long I take. So just so we don't get confused, I'm going to start with the books that I read and recommend, and then I'm going to go into the books that I'm trying to read this spring, and then I'm going to go into movies that I recommend and I already watched. So there's that. I hope it's okay. Cool. So I'm going to start the recommendations part with probably the most, I would say, complex and kind of complicated one to read, at least for me. And that is The Master and Margarita. I really don't like the Romanian cover, but this is how I read it. Oh well, so be it. I hope you enjoy it more than I do. Listen, the reason why I say this book is a little bit complex and complicated is because I personally struggled with the first half of it. Not because it was bad, it was just a lot, probably. And I think it's so multi-layered that it makes it a little bit complicated to read, but it's so worth it in the end. You know, it's one of those reads that you have to stick through. So, in and out of itself, I will say it's a masterpiece. It's surreal. It completely defies any kind of categorization that I could possibly give it, but it's also very much a match for spring in its own right. And yeah, that's kind of that on the commentary part. On telling you about it, I feel like it's such a good blend of dark fantasy and sharp political satire, but also religious allegory, because it's basically three stories that are interwoven in this whole book. And the first one is the devil coming to Moscow with his entourage, and it's kind of surrealist and just like magical surrealism. The other one is a tragic love story, and then the other one is sort of a religious retelling. And it's just so crazy. Yeah, you feel like you're going mad while you're reading the book, but I feel like it's so worth it. So there's this not exactly thin book, but very enjoyable. In comes a book that looks autumny, but I feel like it's springy. Full disclosure, to me, spring doesn't necessarily scream joy. It's actually, yeah, no, I just don't like very happy books. So there's that information about me. But next up, I have Where Reasons End, which is such a nice and wholesome, heartbreaking, warm story of mourning. I know I've mentioned this book before. I'm not sure in what context, I don't fully remember, but this just explores the connection between a mother and her child through writing. She writes to her child in order to reconnect, and it's just such a heartwarming and heartbreaking, bittersweet story. It's really gut-wrenching, but in a very sweet sense, and it's hopeful in the way the mother tries to have these conversations, these imagined conversations with her kid and discovering herself in a way through the image that she has of the kid in her head. It's devastatingly beautiful. That's all I'm going to say. And I think it's a good, slightly sad person recommendation for spring. I'm going to pull out the most overdone spring romance, and that is Jane Austen, Pride and Prejudice. I can't. It's just such a classic. And I think any Jane Austen book at this point is going to hit the spot. But yeah, Pride and Prejudice is just, again, I'm not the hugest romance person, but it's such a rivals to lovers sort of situation. It's wholesome, it's very atmospheric, it's very classy, and I totally recommend the movie. I think the nature shots are really beautiful in the movie. It's just kind of what catches me the most. Yeah, it's a classic for a reason, and I think for what it's worth, it can totally be read in one weekend and just go about your days. Controversial, maybe to some people, but I am going to say The White Album by Joan Didion. I don't think every single Joan Didion book is a spring recommendation. I wouldn't classify it as that. But there's something so sharp and witty about the way that she reports on specific time periods, and she does so really well in this book. I know that this is not going to be everybody's style of prose. She can be very heartless in a way when she describes certain things, but I think that adds a certain level of lightness and rationalization that I somehow associate with spring. This book specifically kind of reports on some personalities and California in the 60s. And I think it does so very interestingly. It meshes with her personal life as well. And her prose is just very sharp, to the point. I think for... Maybe I'm also biased by how pastel pinky the cover is, but I think it's great if you're looking for something more realistic and grounded, but still springy enough. On to a book that is very artsy and very old. I've thrifted this a long time ago, and that is Lust for Life by Irving Stone. It's a very beautiful telling of the life of Vincent van Gogh. I took a while there. I was just like, who's that? Anyways, I read it a long while ago, to be fair, as in, I think 4 years ago or 3. That's not a shit ton, but to me it is. And I just found it very pittoresque and very descriptive. And I really found the narration vivid enough for me to feel like I was a part of the story and I was getting to just observe everything around me. It's really pretty, but again, there's this sense of distance and inspiration that I feel I associate with spring. And again, it's just that it feels like this book is painted in watercolors, if that makes any sense. I feel like if you're looking for something a bit more whimsical, and some people might disagree and place this as an autumn recommendation, I don't know why for me it's more of a spring, could be autumn, okay, recommendation, but Circe by Madeline Miller, which is quite literally the story of the goddess Circe, the one of witchcraft, and basically her story of defying men in general. It's just very magical and nature-filled and a beautiful retelling with lots of pretty imagery of Greek mythology to some degree. And while I see how that is not necessarily going to be everybody's spring cup of tea, I thought it worth to mention, because I would totally reread it. So there's that. There's definitely some themes of self-isolation in there, and I feel like that could ring pretty well after winter for a lot of people. And yeah, re-emerging and finding yourself. I think springy themes are touched in this book, in her own Cersei way. And also, I think for what it's worth, no, it's not the most crazy action-packed Greek mythology story you're ever gonna find, but I think it's got just enough sequences of change and plot twist that it still creates an interesting atmosphere and it engages you while also having sequences where technically not much happens. And also she turns people into animals. So what's there not to like? I know I've mentioned this one a whole bunch of times, but hear me out. The Inseparables, yes, again. If you haven't seen any of my videos before and I haven't mentioned this, then this is sorry. It's just really nice. It's a coming of age story talking about friendship, love, exploring self-identity, sexuality, some sapphic undertones. And yeah, it's just a really beautiful read that I totally think you can finish in a day. I definitely did, and it's really, really nice. It's just really enjoyable and French. Going now into the books that I would like to read this spring. It's going to be a little bit shorter because obviously I don't really have much experience with these books and I'm just planning to read them. So first and foremost, let me start. Okay. I'm going to start with the more weird ones. I've been meaning to read this book for years. I've received it as a gift and I cannot wait to get into it. It is Paradise Rot. I cannot wait to be hopefully disgusted. I cannot wait for some more sapphic literature. I cannot wait to be... Yeah, I mean, the title kind of says it all. I think this is either going to be a love that I don't think I'll ever forget, and I think will completely change me, or I will absolutely hate it. I don't think there's any in between. I don't know why. I just get the vibe. But I'll be back with a review. I have 2 disturbing books, and one of them is this. My friend that I received the gift from got me these 2 books, and I will totally do a review somehow of these 2 books together. After that, I have the second, which is Diary of an Oxygen Thief. I heard it's just really disturbing, disgusting, and I had another friend read it and she actually said it's bad. So I would love to be the judge of that. Apparently, very questionable book, morally, on so many levels. I'm looking forward to it. It just says, hurt people hurt people. I can agree. Totally. We all do that. It should be interesting. Should be probably disgusting, but in a very different way from the other one. More in a who wrote this and why did they publish it way. I'll see. I might enjoy it. We'll see. After that, because I read Lolita a while ago, I think. Did I read it in autumn or in summer? Anyways. I've been having Pale Fire for a while in my bookshelf and I still haven't read it, so I would like to get to it. I am interested in looking more into Mr. Nabokov. Took me a while to actually... I keep saying Nabokov, and it's probably wrong. So, yeah. I will say I did enjoy Lolita from the perspective of criticizing, right? Because that was the point of it, you know? So this should be very interesting, and it's definitely going to be different, I think. Looking on the back what it's about, it's not going to be the same kind of story. So there is that. And then this is a book I genuinely thrifted, and I have no idea what this is going to be, but it looked very wholesome. And that is Growing Goats and Girls. I don't know. You tell me, but it's supposed to be a love letter to the British countryside, a wonderfully earthy story of fresh Cornish air, an adventure from start to finish. A heartwarming memoir of moving to the glorious Cornish countryside and taking up farming, the perfect antidote to city life. Maybe I should do that. Let's see if it's a good, cozy read. I feel like I could use that after all of the stuff that I usually read, which is never, ever light. Now to the books that I'll probably download on my ebook because I can't find them, and yeah. Those are East of Eden and The Enchanted April, A Room with a View, and The Little Prince. I've never read The Little Prince. I know it's a children's book, but I never read it, and I feel like I should. So, yeah. There's my reading list. There's definitely more that's going to be added to it. I know that. Or maybe I'm not going to read The Little Prince, but I did put it in there. So, I might switch it out for something. But yeah, just so you get the idea. A Room with a View, I think, has something to do with the Italian countryside. And it's, again, very ambiental and cute and sunny and nice. And Enchanted April, same vibes, just really interesting. So I could use something more light, basically. And I think those would kind of hit the spot now. We'll see. I'll update you. For the movie recommendations, I'm going to start again with something related to Vincent van Gogh. I seem to have a thing. And that movie is Loving Vincent. Now, the way I'm telling you, I am still shocked to this day that that movie is made frame by frame of paintings that somebody made is absolutely nuts to me. I mean, okay, the story in itself is just a young man coming to deliver Vincent van Gogh one of his last letters and investigating his last days. But when I tell you that is one of the most visually striking and probably tedious to make, it's insane to think that such a long movie was made up of frames that were painted. I can't. Please watch it. Okay? After that, I have a documentary about Joan Didion. It's in a movie format. I think it's like 2 hours or something like that. And it's called The Center Will Not Hold. She was actually alive during the filming of it. So if you want any more details into her life, into her experiences with grief, into her experiencing with her daughter passing away, information about her, especially getting some hindsight of how her life used to be back in the day and how it is now, I feel like that was kind of a powerful visual for me, and just seeing her from different ages, all of that, it's just really interesting. I do recommend The Center Will Not Hold if you're interested in Joan Didion. After that, I have Little Women, the one with Saoirse Ronan, Emma Watson, Florence Pugh, yes, Timothée Chalamet. I'm forgetting who else, and I feel bad now. Laura Dern, I think. Anyways, it's very pretty. I can also recommend the book. I feel like Louisa May Alcott did a pretty good job on that one, so you could totally read the book as well. There's different variations of it. I know that there's another one with Winona Ryder, but I haven't watched that one, so can't recommend it. Maybe I should and come back. But nonetheless, I really enjoy the adaptation. I think it's pretty good, and I love Joe.
I have loved you ever since I've known you, Joe. I couldn't help it. And I tried to show and you wouldn't let me, which is fine. No. But I must make you here now and give me an answer, because I cannot go on like this any longer. Please, I gave up billiards. I gave up everything you didn't like. I'm happy I did. It's fine.
After that, I have Alice in Wonderland. I feel like it's a staple. I've been obsessed with it since it first came out when I was a kid. It's a beautiful movie. It's so whimsical, so abstract, so I don't know. I feel like I'm tripping the entire time through, and that's probably the best part about it. It feels like a fever dream. So what else would you do in spring? In a weekend? On a night? Such a good choice. I said Pride and Prejudice. I stand by that. I wrote it here, but I'm gonna not go back on it. If you're looking for something slightly in the area of the femcel movie and something a little bit beautifully tragic, I do recommend The Virgin Suicides. I think it's pretty interesting and, yes, quite aesthetically pleasing on many levels. It is hard to not notice Sofia Coppola when she's there, so yeah. After that, I have a movie from a series of 3 that I did not, to my shame, watch at all up until now, and that is Before Sunrise. I think it's really wholesome. I think it's a love story that feels very real, and it follows such a short span of time between two people from the moment they meet till the moment they have to depart and make a promise to see each other again. I think it's really wholesome, and somehow it ties into this feeling of spring that is bubbling and light and in a way ephemeral. I think it suits quite nicely everything. So yeah. And then lastly, I have The Hours, which is basically a parallel story between 3 women, one of them being Virginia Woolf, and it kind of follows, once again, a very short span of time for all 3 of them, and it goes back and forth and kind of ties the stories into each other. And throughout different times, there's more modern characters, and then going back to, for example, Virginia's perspective, it's interesting, a little bit heartbreaking, and it's also quite early 2000s movie in its own sense. So with that, I will say this is everything I could come up with. I tried my very best to make sense of it all because for me, spring is such a weird season sometimes because it's hard to categorize. It's so everywhere that I never really know what to pick. So there's that. But I'm going to thank you very much for watching this video, for sitting through me talking my bullshit once again. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're having a good time. And if you're not, once again, as per usual, I'm sorry. Try to take care of yourself as much as you can and of your energy. And yeah, spend some time doing things that you love. Here are some ideas if you'd like. Yeah. Thank you so much. Kisses. See you. I don't know, because March is crazy. Okay, March is always the most socially crazy month for me. But I promise the next video is going to be interesting because it puts into perspective 2 books, because it compares them. And I've mentioned that I'm doing this video, but I am on the last stretches of reading The Magic Mountain, like very last stretches. And I'm doing this comparison video with something of a modern readaptation of it. So, yeah, that's gonna come around. But I don't promise to be very good this month. And I'm really sorry. Because I'm ashamed. Yeah, anyways. Have a good day or a good sleep.